Join us today on the Final Hour podcast. Yes, it is finally here. The
one you've been waiting for.
The episode.
Right. You've been waiting.
This is the episode that we did not air an episode. Do you remember that week?
I do.
And everyone wrote in?
They did. They did. We have some dedicated listeners.
Where is our episode?
People were bugged.
They were bugged.
Yeah.
And we're going to air that today.
That's why we ate bugs.
We're going to air that episode today, and we're going to take you back in time to when we had the other studio. You're going to see the plant. I'm tempted.
Some of you missed the plant. No.
I'm tempted to have the plant in here just 1 week.
Did we name the plant?
No.
No, we should have named the plant.
Should have.
I'm glad the plant's no longer here.
But
kind of like that.
This episode, let me just tell you why we didn't episode. That was week 40. We didn't air it, okay? Because I was told not to air it. Right? I work for my father, right? And
who art in heaven.
Yes,
and his father.
He's not in heaven
as well as your father. Yet.
Yeah. Yes, I work for my father in heaven, and then under him is
my other father.
Is my other father. And I asked him,
thank you, John,
based on some stuff that happened around the country, should I air this episode? And he said, I wouldn't. He said, sometimes timing is everything.
Yep.
Then I asked our chief of operations, Brian Sullivan, there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was advised. I could have done it. They probably would have let me.
Yeah.
But we're going to air this long awaited. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
It's a great episode.
So
I'm excited for it to come out because I think even more now than then. This is really relevant.
We saw this subject popped up again.
Yep.
Right.
And we're just we're being aggressive at the right time. Okay.
Yeah.
Strategic.
Should we do the cheer? No, I'm
be
just kidding.
aggressive.
Be aggressive.
I wasn't a cheerleader, so
BEAGGRESSIVE. Be.
At least you can
aggressive.
spell it.
Got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Join us.
We interrupt your program to issue a severe warning for an impending emergency making its way to your area. We urge you to be watchmen of the times and to be prepared with the essential knowledge and supplies for the wake of the final hour.
Talk to you about really wokeism, and we'll just go with 2 Thessalonians 2:3-9, and just letting you know that there's 4 segments today, 2 spiritual segments and 2 of the news that's usually not in the news type segments, and 2 Thessalonians 2:3-9 out of the Amplified. It says, let no one deceive you or beguile you in any way. Okay, why? For that day will not come except the apostasy comes first. What is that? It's the predicted great falling away of those who have professed to be Christians.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So a lot of people with Jesus in their hearts are going to fall away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's saying. And it's why? Because they're deceived.
Yep.
That's what we just read. And the man of lawlessness it is revealed, who is the son of doom, of perdition. That's the Antichrist. What does he do? He's a bad guy. We know in verse 4, he opposes, exalts himself so proudly and insolently over all that is called God or that is worshipped.
Yep.
And even to his actually taking his seat in the temple of God. That's the abomination of desolation. It's famous, happens 3.5 years into the tribulation.
Yep.
He proclaims himself God. Verse 5, do you not recollect that when I was still with you, I told you these things? This is Apostle Paul. And you know what is restraining him, okay, from being revealed at this time? Okay. It is so that he may be manifested, revealed in his own appointed time. Mm-hmm. There it is.
Yep.
Paul says, do you know what's restraining him? Remember I was telling you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That it says that we are restraining him. The Antichrist will not be revealed until we are gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And verse 6, and now you know what is restraining him from being revealed at this time, so that he may be manifested, revealed in his own appointed time. For the mystery of lawlessness, that hidden principle of a rebellion against constituted authority, it's already at work right now. And I think we know that, all right, i.e. wokeism, but it is restrained right now.
Yeah.
Only until he who restrains is taken out of the way. That's the rapture.
Who is
That means
the
when,
we.
when
Yeah.
we're gone,
Yeah.
when we're taken out of the way, there's no more restraining.
Yep.
Okay. So you're holding it back. You've got a responsibility to hold it back.
Yep.
All right. Through your prayers, and our country through, in a sense, speaking up. But verse 8, and then after we're gone, after we're taken out of the way,
Yeah.
the lawless one, the Antichrist, will be revealed, and the Lord Jesus Christ will slay him with the breath of his mouth and bring him to an end by his appearing at his coming. The coming of the lawless one, the Antichrist, is through the activity and working of Satan and will be attended by great power. I love this, with all sorts of pretended miracles and signs and delusive marvels, all of them lying wonders. So that makes you think, are there really going to be miracles? Is the Antichrist really going to have them? Or are they going to be designed? Are they going to be faked?
But
Well,
when you don't know, I mean, if it's an illusion, if it's a lie, I mean, what's the difference?
But hold on, if people are going to have computerized chips that do things, why couldn't they
Right.
just and then this person's going to...
Well,
don't
that's
ask
a
me.
design.
How is that again?
That's
Okay.
We're going to enter this in, and this person's going to raise from the dead at this time, and then it's
Right.
just computer generated, and it's...
well,
happens.
and because
Just a
of
thought.
not only that, but I mean, look at all of the technology with TV and just video stuff that you can take a certain chunk of, if you have enough video footage and audio footage of a person,
good
you
point.
can basically put them into AI and have them say anything you want. So there
It's
can
true.
be, you can make it an illusion of just about anybody nowadays.
And if they're going to use those holograms, and they can do
Yeah.
all sorts of things
Right.
with that. You didn't talk
you're
about
friendly,
that's when you're...
yeah.
Well, I just think it's interesting that the Bible in the Amplified says that word miracles in the Greek is pretended,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And,
Interesting.
and calls them delusive marvels. You know, the Amplified doesn't just make stuff up.
Right.
They look at the deep Greek meaning and amplify it
Right.
for us in the English. That's one of the reasons
Is
I
that
love.
what's called the Amplified Bible?
Yes,
That's
that's why I love
exactly
the
why.
Amplified.
Oh.
I feel like
I-
this whole passage, though, I mean, you can take this whole passage and read Revelations and understand, like, it gives you a good mindset that you come into it for all of Revelations and see what is going on and see that, you know, obviously there's illusions, there's deceptions, and people are going to fall for it. And so you have to keep your heart right.
Do you know what I love that you read in that, though? In verse 8, you said, and he slays him with the breath of his mouth. I think that is...
That's in
because,
the
like,
end, though.
can-
That's
I know, but can I
That's
say
in the
one
millennium.
thing
You
about
can.
that? Because Jesus, when they came to arrest him,
Yeah.
and he said, "I am," and just
And then
him saying, "I am," and everyone just
Everybody
fell down.
fell.
Like
I think
that-
one of the Gospels has that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
I
of
don't
them,
know.
maybe. I'm not sure if more than one,
not
but
sure.
they do. All the guys that come to arrest Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane,
Yep.
they all fall down.
But you have the breath of God in you. I just think
Absolutely.
that's just really profound.
It is.
Yeah.
But the number
Bring
one
the depth, Lonaiah.
way
Bringing it.
you restrain and hold back evil is through your prayers.
Yes.
And using your authority that Jesus paid a heavy price for on the cross. And we talked about your authority, what your authority is in the spirit realm, which translates to the physical as a believer, and how to use it in episodes 27 through 30.
Yeah.
And you can see the numbers of episodes at the end of each title. If you're looking at YouTube, you have to pray for your leaders, whether if you agree with them
Yep.
or not.
Yep.
Your prayers have the power to affect even the most ungodly man or woman. But even more importantly, as we read, because what are they being motivated by? Demons.
Yep.
And you can move demons, as we read in 2 Thessalonians 2:3.
Yep.
Let's just hit it again really quick. Let no one deceive you or beguile you. This is how this starts out anyway. That means there's going to be a lot of deception going on.
Yeah.
Okay? For that day will not come except, that means he's not coming. The Antichrist is not coming. The apostasy has to come first. What's that? The predicted great falling away of those who have professed to be Christians has come. And I've seen this. I've seen so many people just walk away from God.
It's the right? What is it? The deconstructionism that people are going through right now in America. They're deconstructing their faith in Christianity. It's a major thing, especially in the millennial.
Well, didn't we just talk about
range.
an app last week where you can literally just conform the Bible?
Yeah.
And religion to you and your beliefs.
So what you want.
Right.
Yes, of course. That's the world we're living in.
There's a lot of people that are going through that. They're like, and it's because people lose hope and they are not grounded on what they should know or should have learned that what the word is to you, what Christ is to you, if you go into your own feelings instead of holding fast to what you know of him to be true.
Why would God allow that to happen?
Right. Yeah.
I hear that question all the time. Did you ask me that?
I have once.
Anyways.
You and John, you set me. I mean, I was okay, but if you think and you think and you think and you go down little paths,
it's about free will.
Yeah. It is.
It's about free will, and we're seeing the falling away hitting in a big way.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of it is due to what is being called wokeism.
Yeah,
yes.
And what I'm talking about in falling away is exactly the line we just read in 2 Thessalonians 2:3. The great falling away of those who have professed to be Christians has to come before the Antichrist shows up. And I'm telling you, you can see this, and we're witnessing in America exactly what 2 Thessalonians 2:3 says, the end time apostasy. This is what Bible prophecy talks about. What is going to happen just before the return of Jesus? We were watching Jimmy Evans, and it was his podcast titled "Woke Agendas Must Be Stopped," and he talked about a pastor that he knows. One of his congregation members, this pastor that Jimmy Evans knows, was talking to this pastor, and one of this guy's congregation members worked for a large aircraft manufacturer. His boss calls him in, asks him, "What are your pronouns?" All right? What are the pronouns that you identify with? And the guy said, I don't believe in any of that. And his boss says, well, we can't have any government contracts until we turn in the pronouns of every employee that every employee with the company identifies with. So he says, you have to give your pronouns or you can't work here. And I didn't even know what that meant. I mean, I looked at Lonaiah and I said, what
would my pronouns be?
That's what I said. I said, what are my pronouns?
Well, you're a man.
Yeah, him and he.
So, yep,
yeah.
you got it. You nailed it.
You have people losing their jobs for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All over the country. And believe me, it's just the beginning. It's going to be just like Revelation chapters 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. The persecution that the church was under in those chapters is very, very clear and very, very real. All right? Mm-hmm. And gee, what a coincidence. Suddenly, in chapter 4, many scholars believe the church is raptured. In other words, that's why we're going to go through the 7 letters to the 7 churches.
Yeah.
Because that's instruction for us today. Mm-hmm. And you have what most scholars believe is the church suddenly raptured to heaven in Revelation 4, early in the chapter. The most disturbing thing is, though, the indoctrination that American public school and some private school children are getting, all right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Biden administration is withholding school lunch programs from public schools that will not be gender inclusive or accept the whole transgenderism doctrine.
Yeah.
I guess you would call it a program.
Yeah.
It is a program.
It is a program.
Sure.
And you have the government putting on the pressure to indoctrinate these children. And we have given the articles almost on a weekly basis, talked about many times, many instances
Yeah.
where the children come home and say, Mommy, the teacher thinks I should be a boy instead of a girl, right?
I would flip out if that happened.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And we've reported many an instance to you where they are hiding it and are trying to pass legislation where they're able to do this, indoctrinate American children into the transgender lifestyle without the parents knowing.
Mm-hmm.
This is just one of the arms, or you would say branches or wicked tentacles of wokeism.
Yeah, right.
This is an exact description of the world we're living in right now. And with that, let's describing this world, 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5. Okay? But understand this, that in the last days will come set in perilous times of great stress and trouble, hard to deal with, hard to bear.
It can be.
People will be lovers of self and utterly self-centered. How many selfies a day are being taken around the?
Millions.
I mean, isn't that kind of?
Only 3 by me. Only.
You literally take a picture of
None
yourself and send it out. I'm not being condemning, right? But lovers of selves, lovers of money, aroused by an inordinate, greedy desire for wealth.
Yeah.
Proud, arrogant, contemptuous boasters. They will be abusive, blasphemous, scoffing, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, profane. There will be without natural human affection. They will be callous, inhuman, relentless, admitting of no truce or appeasement. They will be
Admitting
slanderers.
of no truths. Oh,
They will be
That's the
slanderers,
that's
false accusers, troublemakers, intemperate, loose in morals, conduct, uncontrolled, fierce haters of good. They will be treacherous betrayers, rash and inflated with conceit. They will be lovers of sensual pleasures, vain amusements, more than and rather than lovers of God. For although they hold a form of piety, true religion, they deny and reject and are strangers to the power of it. Their conduct bellies the genuineness of their profession. And then he says, avoid all such people. Avoid them. This is wokeism. And it is an exact description of the world we are living in today.
yeah.
I think we would all agree that the Antichrist could appear. He could come to fruition today. And it would not surprise me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd be wondering why I'm not in heaven yet.
Yeah.
Right. But he would be accepted in most countries in the world,
Yes, for sure.
if not put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Remember, the Antichrist, he's going to be a guy with really good communication skills.
Yep.
He's going to be, I guess we would couch this as demonically smart.
Yeah.
If you can even really intelligent,
Yeah.
he's going to have what seems to be all the answers.
Yeah.
Starts with a peace treaty in the Middle East that's never been able to happen. One of the names of the Antichrist is the lawless one. I mean, he rejects everything that has to do with Jesus Christ. And I think most of us would not deny that's what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
It's going there.
Rampantly.
It's going there really, really fast. We've got one, I'm going to wrap the wokeism. We're just getting really started on that.
But is it like the Bible explains what it is? I love that. If
Yeah.
you're confused on what it is or you
Yep.
don't understand what it is, like word for word, every character of it nails it to a T.
Yeah.
The little boy on
Amazing.
Good Morning America, the 11-year-old
Oh, yeah.
that had turned into a girl or
Yeah.
was turning into a girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
The drag
Yep.
queen kid.
They bring her on and everyone's applauding him. Sorry. He's a him.
Yeah.
And he's just got all girly qualities.
Yeah.
Right. Then they bring out 3 famous drag queens to encourage him.
Which
And everybody's telling him he's so brave. This is the world we live in.
this
is the world we live in.
Such a lie and it's just so dirty because as an 11-year-old, the hormones for a boy have not even barely kicked in. His
No.
masculine features have not started to develop. And it's so despicable that it would be made a spectacle like this when obviously he is a boy.
Right. I agree. It was
really gets me.
interesting to watch.
We were just looking at another video of a guy that was a guy that had flipped to a girl, but he also was saying that he was a wolf, right?
Oh, yes.
And
he identifies as a wolf.
yeah, there's a lot of those people.
John did talk about this. He said he was really into like anime.
Yeah.
And you had said a while ago, like, I don't know what you said exactly, but basically a lot of the, what's the word? Fantasy images that people come up with are from the anime base. Like, if you look at it.
And it's a really imaginative, world with anime, because, you know, with animation, you can do anything you want. And so there's a lot of interesting stories that go on there, but if you don't have any foundation on the truth, and you let what you're consuming go wild, then it can be perverted. It can be whatever.
You look at the left and they're saying like that the right-sided people or certain people are saying like there's litter boxes and people are pretending to be cats and there's no proof of that. And then you have
they're lying.
And that but you have the wolf man on TV and you're like
the wolf man.
It's right there.
The wolf
woman, whatever it is.
That used to be a man. But you know, I was looking at the election up here.
Yeah.
And people are trying to bring this up. Like, look, you know, this is our public schools. We've got litter boxes in bathrooms, and teachers addressing, you know, students, required to address students with meows and you know, and you know what the left was saying? That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. They're making that up. That's fantasy. And they're just lying.
But they're not making it up.
They're not making it up. It's real. And for them just to lie, and everyone just says, "Oh, that's just something the right." No, the right isn't making that up.
They're not.
This is being encouraged in your public schools.
The problem the left is doing, the reason the left is doing that is because if you are looking at reality, it's indefensible. It is indefensible to allow children to live in that world that is separated from reality.
Right.
And that is why they have to, because normal people, a normal logical person, a sane person will say that's not good, that needs to be treated with therapy or whatever. So the left can't combat the actual criticism of it, so they have to say that it doesn't exist.
That's a lie.
And this is not just in elementary schools with kids. My son is 20 and he was talking to a boy on his baseball team. They grew up together, who goes to college, and the boy said they're talking about the craziest things they've seen in college and like what's the weirdest thing that's happened. And this boy said he walked out of his dorm room and he sees this guy dressed up like a dog with a leash around his neck, and he scratches on the door of this girl. The girl opens the door and's like, "Oh, you're here. Good job, buddy. You ready to go?" And the kid barks at him, and then she picks up the leash and they walk out the door, crawling on his hands and knees. This is a college student.
This is real. This is a real thing. But you know, we'll come back into that. You know, Biden is extending COVID executive powers.
Yay.
Which means, okay, this is what that means. People don't even understand this.
Nope.
He can spend whatever he wants.
Yep.
Yeah, not have to explain what it's going for.
He can spend whatever he wants.
Or send it
like
to
when
Ukraine.
Is this going to stop? You know, he gave $41 million to a nonprofit to help illegals fight deportation. All right. China's COVID-19 quarantine facilities are now like concentration camps. You know, I'm just giving you quick hitters here. Australia is sliding back into their communist ways. They're saying, you know, basically Australia is locking. It seems to be locking down again.
Yeah, John sent me a TikTok video. Yeah. John, just talk about the video. Like what there's.
I'm trying to remember.
There's
which
like
one
police checkpoints.
Oh yes.
You had to have papers.
Right.
I was listening to this podcast lady from Chile, and she said that when they had to go do something or go run an errand, they would get a piece of paper, and that piece of paper would only be valid for like 3 hours.
It's like a hall pass. It's like a hall. Yeah. So they're looking at extending those quarantines. I mean, it's basically what those quarantine zones were in Australia. They only had 5 miles to be able to travel.
And they're bringing them back.
Right. They're bringing them back, and So, I mean, obviously in America, if you did that, I hope there would be some major resistance to. You can't tell us that we can't drive, you know, from the northwest suburbs here to Shakopee or whatever we want to do. Right.
That's why you don't want socialism.
That's why you don't want socialism. And you can see Australia and New Zealand falling heavily into some socialism ideas.
Well, And, you know, Biden, this is probably the biggest thing. If you don't hear anything else, please, you're not going to see this on CNN. You're not going to see this on NBC, CBS, ABC. Biden, you know, obviously we're giving loads of money to Ukraine, right? We just reported that. Mm-hmm. Well, this has just come out, okay? Ukraine gives loads of money to FTX.
Cryptocurrency.
So Ukraine gives loads that money. They give it to FTX. Okay.
Yep.
Get this. The FTX donates that money to the Democrat campaigns.
They were the number
It's been
one
proven.
donation funder.
Source. Yep.
Yes. And George Soros was right behind them.
Yep. FTX.
To FTX. I don't know
It
what
is
else
a
you're going to
trail.
say, so I don't want to say it.
It is a trail.
Yeah.
Right. And
We have a really good article linked to that explains all this.
Yes. Check out the article. And you know, you're not going to see this. They're not going to tell you that all our taxpayer money, right? Our taxpayer money that goes to the Ukraine gives it to FTX. Yep. FTX gives it to the Democratic campaign.
And here's the big thing. So cryptocurrency is based on blockchain. It is a computer language that you can see exactly what a transaction is, what it represents. So it's hard to hide it. The problem is right after the election, FTX goes bankrupt, and now everybody is trying to find out where the billions of dollars went.
Do you know what's even funny about that?
From the Ukraine to FTX, and obviously there is blockchain. So there is some major explaining to be done. But what is
FTX? SBF, Sam, whatever.
Sam
so
Bankman-Fried.
FTX this weekend, they said they got hacked. And all of their money started disappearing.
Yeah. No.
But you don't file bankruptcy and then you get hacked and your money disappears without any answers.
Right.
They're like, I mean, everything about this is so shady.
It's
like
shady.
I started seeing stuff about FTX and I'm like, what is this? So I started looking into it, and they are connected with the World Economic Forum.
Yep.
Their parents are really good friends with the guy,
Klaus Schwab.
SBF, the Sam Bankman-Friedman, whatever his name is.
His
parents are like, professors at a big college. You're good friends with the Bidens and the Klaus Schwab people. It's all just one big circle.
One big circle of your taxpayer
Follow
dollars.
the money.
Follow the money.
Yep.
That's all you have
Wouldn't
to
that
do.
make you happy for your taxpayer dollars?
And
your taxpayer dollars were going to a Democratic candidate. In your area?
Ask questions. If you are connected in any way, ask questions. Ask people to be accountable for what is going on, and don't let people just off the hook just because it's one side or the other.
Well, I saw a bunch of celebrities who are promoting FTX are getting sued now because
Tom Brady and
Giselle.
Giselle. Yep. There's a guy on Twitter. He's a big crypto guy. He was pushing FTX a year and a half ago, and now he's got to be responsible for a lot of this too.
So to make it clear, our tax money's going to Ukraine. It's been proven Ukraine is giving a bunch of money.
They're investing
your money
into
to FTX. It has now been proven that FTX is the highest donor to the Democratic Party.
Shady.
And remember, the World Economic Forum had FTX on their website stating that they were
it's deleted now, but
partner.
There's an NFL stadium,
right? Of course,
called the FTX Stadium.
They canceled that.
It's changing.
In Florida, I think it was Florida. Yeah.
COP27, COP27.
The climate collaboration and
yes, it's climate change. When you see the COP, right, it's always a climate change thing. But Biden is tightening methane emissions, increases climate change investments. Now that he's only got 2 years left, thank God. But he announced increased investments in countries and projects related to climate change. It's like, this is your tax dollars. Where's he getting the money? In an effort to adhere to global climate change targets, they have goals while declaring steps to limit methane emissions within our country. Okay, he said this at the 27th conference of the parties of the UN Framework Convention of Climate Change, COP27. He says 150 million in initiatives that specifically support adaptation efforts for climate change for Africa. Well, yeah. Is that our money?
That's our money.
That's our money. That's where it's going. Climate change for Africa.
Yeah, but I was listening to part of that, and this lady, I don't know which country she is from, but basically they demand countries like America to fund them for their climate change initiatives. So it's like the people who are more successful with it and have more funds have to donate their money to this. But
well, America has donated
$150 million.
We've donated money to China to help fight pollution. Isn't this why Trump got out of the Paris? Yeah, the Paris Accords.
Yes,
right,
because
exactly.
of this climate.
He said we're shilling out
business.
millions and millions and millions, and there is nothing to show for it.
And look, the European Union and Germany, with America, they have a $500 million package to finance and facilitate Egypt's transmission to clean energy. Okay, so listen to this. Now this is to help Egypt get a bunch of
Africa and Egypt
get a bunch of
Egypt
windmills
is in Africa.
and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he announced another project underway between American firms and Angola, where they're investing $2 billion. This is American tax dollars.
Do you think they even think about the money? Or they just like put a number? Like you just read 50 million, 150 million, and $2 billion.
It's all discretionary slush funds that Congress is doling out.
But if you
with
care
no real purpose other than they're just this is support for the world.
But the problem is here. You get the real heart of it here. All those people show up for the COP27 meetings, right? Mm-hmm. Okay? They're all for their best interest is for the climate. 400 private jets landed. So it's okay for them. Okay? They're the elitists.
They could have carpooled.
And that's the way they're going to run the world. Okay? That's the way they're going to run the world. All right,
because nobody's paying attention to them flying in on their private jets. They just see them.
No one is. They are unaccountable. There's no accountability.
And John Kerry is promising that Biden's new green agenda will roll out much like COVID vax. So
shocker.
This is coming here. This is coming on the local end though. In a lot of states, parent-backed school board candidates pick up
parents
a lot of seats. Nobody's talking about it. But a lot of Republican candidates won control of countless school boards across the country, running on a platform of simply parental rights.
Good.
And what caused them to run is the school mask mandates, critical race theory curriculum, transgender ideology.
Wokeism.
This is all wokeism.
Yes.
Being pushed on kids as young as 5 years old. So parents stood up, several conservative groups, Moms for Liberty, God bless them. If you're going to pray for somebody. I actually
think that lady is from Minnesota who started the Moms for Liberty.
Pray for Moms for Liberty. Also pray for the 1776 PAC, right? These organizations work to train and fund candidates across the country, all right? And in Michigan, right? And 4 conservatives endorsed by 1776 Project PAC won their races. Flipped the board. Flipped the school board from Democrat to Republican. Yep. South Carolina, 15 conservatives backed by Moms for Liberty won in 3 separate counties. Flipped all 3 school boards. Maryland, 3 1776 Project PAC candidates won, flipping the school board. North Carolina, candidates backed by Moms for Liberty flipped schools in 2 counties. New Jersey, 3 Moms for Liberty conservatives won their election in Cape May County, flipping the school board.
Good.
Florida. Here, 2 Moms for Liberty candidates flipped school board in Pinellas County, and 5 in 1776 Project PAC candidates won their races. That's what the governor, Ron DeSantis, he backed them. He endorsed these candidates. He endorsed 30 school board candidates, 24 of 1. Remember, a lot of this battle is on the local level.
Yes.
And what gets taught in the school, obviously, the school boards have control. And so more than 100 school boards were flipped by conservatives since last November, according to Project 1776 PAC. They're the good guys. And so along with Moms for America, quoting Tiffany Justice, co-founder of Moms for America, "There's no truer lover than that of a mother for their child."
Can I say one thing about Minnesota? If you want to follow, my neighbor goes to like all of our school board meetings, and it's called Minnesota Parents Alliance, and that's what is a good program to follow in Minnesota if you want to watch what happens at school board level on the local Minnesota level.
And Tiffany Justice, co-founder of Moms for America, just quoting her, "There's no truer love than that of a mother for their child. When we say vote like a mother, it means vote
like a mother,
unabashedly for parental rights, for your children's future. Don't allow the hate and the noise to take you away from what you know to be true and right and good." And that would be that your child not flip sexes or change and be a cat, right? Why is it important to have parents on school board? Something called social emotional learning, SEL. Sounds non-threatening, okay? And it's being implemented. They're calling into our schools. SEL is the umbrella for many of the social engineering concepts that have infiltrated our schools. Gender ideology, critical race theory, right? Isn't that getting like 7-year-old white kids to apologize for being white? Right?
They should be sorry.
Critical race theory, equity and intersexuality, comprehensive sex education, wokeism.
But they cover it with such a nice name. Social emotional learning. We just want to help you.
We should be socially, emotionally happy.
It's pure wokeism.
Yes, it is.
Okay?
It's garbage.
And
it is garbage.
Social and emotional trauma, okay? And our academic institutions are being turned into therapeutic institutions. Children are being exposed to and traumatized by subjects that are completely irrelevant to academics.
I don't know if any of you have seen some of the questions that they just throw into like math, math assignments, and you're just reading it and you're like, why is that? Okay.
Right. It's garbage. Just say it a lot.
It's vile.
Look, a parent encountered SEL, social and emotional learning, in the Malacca school district, discovered it's teaching Hinduism and New Age Enlightenment. Like, really? Okay. It's like they're teaching spirituality, right? This article introduces and promotes the dangerous idea that training students into the practice of Eastern spirituality called mindfulness by incorporating it into the teaching of SEL. This is what's going on in the public schools and a lot of private schools with the woke agenda.
But can't you just see the teachers when parents come to them, they're just saying, we're just teaching mindfulness. They have a nice name to tag it with so it doesn't just seem so invasive as to what it really is.
And you know who's behind this, right? It's such a local level. We just said Malacca. That's Minnesota. That's up north.
Right. It's not very far away. It's 50 minutes away.
A global. This is strategies.
Just south of Lake Malacca.
These are strategies. This is the globalist agenda of the World Economic Forum.
Shocker.
And it's made its way. And this is why the school boards are so important. Okay. Now, teachers are now performing a monthly mental health exam on your child. If you live in something called an ESSA state, your child's mental health will be assessed by a non-medical professional in a non-medical context. Parents are not asked permission, and their paperwork can be shared with anyone. Welcome to your local public school. Right? And many private schools. There's many around here.
I'm so
I could just
glad.
clip the names off. There's some woke.
My son's last year of his senior year, his school totally went the woke direction. I'm just glad he's out of that school because I hear about things now and I'm like,
you mean Benilde?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Anyways, okay. I thought they were Catholic. Okay.
Well,
anyways, social and emotional learning. Okay, gateway to Islam and LGBT acceptance. This is SEL. This is what's going on in these schools. It's most recent educational strategy for transforming attitudes, values, and belief of children. All this has little to do with academics, you know? And we could just go on and on and on here. And so
wow.
Switching gear.
Can I say one more thing? Because I was listening to a podcast called The Hustle, and they were talking about how Amazon, The Hustle is going to, I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, but use robots or AI to drones to deliver packages to people.
Yeah.
And they're started in like like areas that are farther out. And listening to you talk about Malacca, they say that the reason that these people go to these smaller communities is because they're so far removed from, like, not reality, but they're more, what's the word? Influential. They can start these programs there and then be like, oh, this worked here and this worked here. And then they can bring it into the bigger cities where it's harder to get in, but they would have proved themselves somewhere like a little more unknown.
And on another, talking about robots, Oakland, California, considering adding gun-toting robots. Police robots have been used for years to, disrupt like explosive devices, but now they're thinking about giving these robots shotguns. And on free speech...
Well, maybe if they didn't defund the police, they'd have actual police officers that could do something.
Weren't you waiting for this, all right? Biden is threatening Elon Musk. This is the guy that bought Twitter. With national security investigation stating that Twitter is a threat to national security. Why? Because Twitter is now fact-checking Biden.
Yes, it's great.
And so now look, the government is threatening Twitter because a guy buys Twitter that says everyone, it's free speech.
Yeah.
It's the only, if he really does what he says he's going to do, it's going to be the only social media platform outside of
Rumble.
Major one. Outside of Rumble. Where there's complete and total free speech, right?
Yeah.
And so he's threatening Elon Musk now. Biden says the U.S. should review Elon Musk's relationships with foreign governments.
Interesting. Maybe we should investigate Joe Biden and his family's relationships with foreign governments.
Well, on another, it's
called deflecting is what it is.
Yes, deflecting.
I saw this on NTD News, which is like a branch off of Epic or Epoch. It can be used as either one. TickTock is China's digital fentanyl. FCC commissioner says the top Republican member of the Federal Communications Commission warned Chinese-owned app TickTock is the Chinese Communist Party's digital version of fentanyl. And I'll just tell you, they know where you are. If you have TickTock, do your kids have TickTock? Yes, they do, don't they?
No, none of them do.
They know where you are.
Do.
They know so much about you. And they're proving this, right? The FCC Commissioner Brandon Carr dismissed claims that the app within the United States is insulated from spying.
I wouldn't,
And national security.
John sends me TikToks on the daily.
I do.
Implications.
There's a lot of right-wing TikToks out there, too.
At the end of the day,
middle of the road.
TikTok is China's digital fentanyl. A lot of people look at TikTok and think it's just a fun application for sharing dance videos, but that's just the sheep's clothing underneath it. It operates as a very sophisticated surveillance app, right?
Yeah.
And it's not the videos. It's pulling everything from search and browsing history, potentially keystroke patterns, biometrics, including face prints, invoice prints. Okay, this is what Carr, the FCC commissioner, is saying. It's what he's saying. Up till now, we've been told by TikTok officials, don't worry, all this is stored in the U.S. It's not in China. But this summer, there was a blockbuster story that said internal communications from TikTok. China has it all. They have all this information.
Oh, for sure.
Remember when Trump was trying to ban TikTok and everybody was attacking him and like, you're ridiculous. And now you have the director of the FCC saying, this is China's digital fentanyl.
Right.
They're watching you. China's got its fingers in a little bit of everything, don't they?
Definitely.
And this is nice to see. A federal judge blocked Biden's student loan forgiveness program. So we're not going to be all paying off everyone's student loans.
And what were they saying? That because the Treasury was going to just be sending people $10,000, $20,000 checks.
I know, but I was doing a little research on that story, and the person who went to the judge with the information, they didn't qualify because they were like $5,000 under the cap, and it made them so mad that they were like, we're going to sue Biden. And then they ended up blocking it because they said it's unconstitutional, which have you seen some of the courses that they offer in college?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not paying for someone to take a Taylor Swift class.
Insane.
I would take it, but I'm not going to pay for somebody.
You're a Swiftie.
I'm a Swiftie.
She's a Swiftie, but she doesn't want to pay for everybody.
I'm not going to pay for you to go to her class.
Or tickets.
Yeah. by my own.
But the Biden administration has stopped accepting applications for the student loan forgiveness program. And so,
But can I say one more thing about that?
Sure.
Didn't he run heavily on that? That was like one of his top ticket items.
For sure. I am shocked.
And it got canceled and said it was unconstitutional. Let's think about that.
Yeah.
Did I mention Australia is going into another serious lockdown?
You did.
Okay.
They are talking about it.
So now we are into our second half of like the teaching here. Remember, Paul is telling us to stay away from these people. All right.
Yeah.
These were his words in 2 Timothy 3:5, because they're dangerous. Avoid all such people. Turn away from them. And what concerns me is the children being taught the doctrine of wokeism in the public schools and many private schools, that I could sit here and I could name these private schools, illustrious private schools here in Minnesota, with $20,000, $30,000 a year tuitions. And, you can raise a great kid, right? But they can be corrupted through how they're being indoctrinated 6.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Can I just say something though about schools? This isn't new, because when
this is not new.
My oldest son, Caden, we were looking at transferring him from one school to another, and this was 4th grade, so he's 20 now. So I think you're like 10. We went to go visit this one school in Minnesota, and we were in this classroom. It was a great school. And the teacher was talking about how she just had come out of the closet and how there's a bathroom for, this is 10 years ago, and I'm listening to her, and how there's a bathroom for kids who don't know which way they identify, and that they have a special day where they honor and respect these people, and there's like an hour of silence in the morning on this day, and I'm listening.
You're talking about Blake, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm listening to this teacher at the school.
We're not breaking any laws by naming the schools.
No, but
They're publicly known.
They are publicly known.
Yes.
So, and I'm just sitting there looking at this lady thinking, what? I didn't even know what she was talking about at that point. I was like, what is she talking about?
10 years ago. They've been at this for a long time.
Years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, a long time. And we walked out, and Caden's like, nah, I'm not going to that school. But I'm just like, this has been going on for a long time. It just starts slowly like that. Like, I just came out, and this is how I felt, and everyone's so accepting. That was our interview process. As a teacher, they stuck us with to walk us around that school.
But now it's to the point, right? Because no one did anything.
Right.
All right. 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. All wokeism wants you to do is totally conform to what they do, what they're about. And when you don't, they're going to be totally vicious. It's just what they do and how they operate.
I have something to say about that, because Candace Cameron, she has like a Hallmark. She does a lot of Hallmark movies.
Yep.
And she just came out and said, I think she started her own program. Like, the program that I run, we're going to be the biblically based family.
Yeah. Traditional marriage based.
Where it's a husband and wife, and they have kids and all that. And people on the left attacked her they flipped out. And she's like, so she came out with an Instagram post. She's really good about it. And she's like, people took my words apart, and she's like, this is the nuclear family. This is what God created. Like, I'm not apologizing for my Christianity. They're attacking her Christianity and her beliefs. Yeah. And it's like, we have to be open and accepting
for everything
else that you do. You're literally a guy, and let's say you told me to call you a girl. That would be disrespectful if I wasn't like, okay, Jim, how are you doing? Like, as a woman.
How is she today?
Jimena.
Yes. It's just.
You've got our schools exposing our children to sexual perversion, pornography. And when parents stand against it, they're called domestic terrorists by our Justice Department.
Yes.
Yeah. You have woke corporations such as Netflix, Disney, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Starbucks, Target, Twitter, Nike. We'll see if it all changes for Twitter. Or not, based on change of ownership. Yep. These guys are promoting perversion, transgenderism, and they slander anyone that disagrees with them. This is starting to become a dangerous world for Christians, and I believe it's only going to get more dangerous, especially if you take Jesus's 7 letters to 7 churches as instructions for his body of Christ today. 2 Thessalonians 2:11, therefore God sends upon them a misleading influence, a working of error, and a strong delusion to make them believe what is false. So what is happening here? When someone rejects the truth over and over and over, they become delusional.
Right.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And what that's saying is if you read the scriptures in context, they become strongly delusional. How many Christians do you know that have fallen away in this day and age, even this last year? And it's almost like they've become delusional.
Yeah.
They're backing this stuff.
Right.
Remember one of the first scriptures we read to open the podcast today, 2 Thessalonians 2:3, let no one deceive you or beguile you in any way. For the day will not come except the apostasy comes, the great falling away of those who have professed to be Christians. We have deceived people, a falling away of a large number of Christians, and you see it. And you know what happens? They become delusional. Completely delusional.
Absolutely.
I can name churches right now that are considered some of the best churches, the best ministers, the best pastors in America that have gone totally woke, i.e. delusional. And, I really want to thank Ben Shapiro for these words that I'm really just going to paraphrase because no one really says it better than him. I was watching him debate
very
this.
Concise.
We were watching a video. No one is going to make us say someone is a man if they're really a woman, but they think they're a man, right? I guess if you wanted to do that to yourself, that's your business.
That's your business, absolutely.
But that doesn't mean I have to agree. We have to agree with the whole transgender thing. This is an arm, one of the tentacles of wokeism. This idea of wokeism that sex or gender are malleable. It's not true. We're not allowed to just call a spade here. We have to agree with this, or we are just considered terrible people. Or eventually, I'm telling you, it's coming, domestic terrorists. Well, they're going to consider us domestic terrorists, right?
Yes.
We look at anyone who did not want to do the prescribed vaccination schedules for over COVID-19, and everybody who was like, hey, I'd just like to wait, that we were called a science denier.
Yes.
The problem is biology, science says there's two genders, but when it comes to gender identity, it doesn't matter about the science. So it's. But I've listened to a lot of kids. It's such a tool that it's just perverted.
It's just a social construct. What people are making this.
Yeah.
Right now. It's obviously not true. And it's so awkward when you're like at a store and you're not sure what. I just don't even say ma'am or sir anymore. I just.
Hello, person.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We're not denying these people their humanity.
No, for sure.
If they're transgender people,
right?
We're just saying you're not the sex you claim to be, and you cannot dictate to us and tell us that we are supposed to pretend that you are a man when you're really a woman, or you're a woman when you're really a man. You can't dictate to us that we have to pretend that. All right.
I was listening just really quick to another podcast person. They were trying to argue this point, and they said because they were arguing with a transgender person, and they said when you die in 10 years, if somebody pulls your bones out of the ground and they test you to see what you were, man or woman, there's only two genders. Yep. They're going to go with what you were born with, which is your DNA, which is what is in.
Yeah. No matter how you change your body, it will not change your DNA.
I'm a fact person.
I like some facts.
And we just simply do not believe that we should modify basic biology because it threatens someone's sense of what they think they are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can I magically make myself a 25-year-old?
Probably not.
Can I tell everyone that I'm 25?
You can try.
And just magically make everyone accept that?
No.
I would make the point that age is much less important than sex, and you can't change your age. You can't change your age, and I don't believe and will never believe that you can change your sex. And I'll always believe that it's wrong. Do I have a problem with you when you've done that?
No.
No, that's your right.
I don't know,
right.
But
that's your business. That's your doctrine. That's your philosophy.
Go for
That's your doctrine. But I do not believe that the education system should be used to push your doctrine, promote your doctrine, deceive children into becoming you or changing their gender. Oh, they say, you're not being open-minded and accepting. That's the biggest offense they go on, right? That's the first thing they tell you is you're not accepting and open-minded. That's how they come at you.
Right.
The idea behind the transgender movement as a civil rights movement is the idea that all their problems are just going to go away if we would pretend that they were the sex to which they claim. That just solves all their problems.
Right.
This is just a piece or a tentacle
so delusional
of wokeism.
Very delusional.
But it's a major piece. And we'll just close this conversation by saying,
I've
wait,
got some more too.
Was that about the Bible? Because didn't you read in that scripture that if you deny the truth over and over again, you become delusional? That is exactly what they're doing.
Well, and Jordan Peterson has so much. I mean, that's why he's been in the news so much over the last 5 years, is because it wasn't even coming at gender stuff. It was like, you can't compel my speech.
Right.
Free speech means I get to speak how I want. You can speak how you want,
right?
But you can't make me participate in your delusion. Mm-hmm. I won't. Yeah, I don't have to. And so you can listen to more of Jordan Peterson out on YouTube, but
I think he's with the Daily Wire now.
Of it, he's just kind of joined up.
Yep.
You know, this transgender, it's just an arm of wokeism. Right? But it's a major arm.
Yeah.
You know, you can look on Reddit and find 40,000 people that have tried to make the sex change.
Yep.
And you know what? They're in utter hell.
Yes.
And this is being hidden from you.
Some of the stories are just so heartbreaking.
This is being hidden from the 7-year-olds, girls that they're trying to convince are boys.
Yes.
Right? How these 40,000 people that have tried to change their sex, they regret it. They say they wish they had never done it because it's unnatural. It's a forum on Reddit. Mm-hmm. There's 40,000 people that have gone this route, but you don't see them promoting that.
No, of course not. They're going to hide that.
They're not promoting that. And
can I say something to this? With the scriptures, the Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians 2, the end of that chapter is just awesome with all of this. In verse 14, it says, "It was to this end he called you through our gospel, so that you may obtain and share in the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Messiah. So then, brethren, stand firm and hold fast to the traditions and the instructions you were taught by us, whether by our word or by mouth or by letter. Now may our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and gave us everlasting consolation, encouragement, and well-founded hope through his grace, which was unmerited favor, comfort and encourage your hearts. Strengthen them, make them steadfast, keep them unswerving in every good work and word." Don't let go of the truth. Don't let go of the good news of the gospel, because that's where people will find salvation. They're going to find that answer that they're looking for in that transgenderism.
Right.
The truth is going to be what sets them free, not a delusional change to their body.
Right. Can I say something really fast? Because when we were watching the Jimmy Evans video, he was telling us that we should pray for these people.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of been like, how do I pray for these people, Lord? What do I say exactly? And then this morning I logged into my email. The Lord He always comes through. And I got an Intercessor for America, which I've talked about here before, and it tells you how to pray for the gender identity confusion. And I have a link. I sent it for them to link it up to this.
Good.
But if you don't know exactly what to pray, or you don't know the specifics of everything, it goes into all, like the mind, the spirituality, the confusion. It covers it all for anybody dealing with this. And I just thought it was a great resource, because I was like, how do you pray for them?
Right.
Like, there's a spirit of confusion. There's a spirit of whatever, chaos, but it was pretty detailed. And I think, pray.
Focus it in.
Yeah, laser focus.
And as we go into, I don't want to go too long. I mean, I'm just going to run through quickly the last news portion. There is a global energy crisis. Pakistan right now, it is the fifth most populous country in the world.
Pakistan
is rationing their natural gas. Okay, 3 times a day for cooking to households.
Wow.
Now we're a little bit better off, a lot better off than them, right? Mm-hmm. But they wouldn't be considered, I know, the lowest level of you know what I mean, economically.
Yeah. They're not third country.
For third world. Yeah. But now think about this, because I don't know how far off we are, but in Pakistan, there's no gas supply to household consumers for 16 hours a day.
So they literally shut that off.
Yeah,
8
they
hours.
shut it off.
They get 8 hours.
Wow. Yeah. They have gas available
control.
for 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and 3 hours in the evening. They get 8 hours a day of gas. And, Europe, they thought Europe was going to be in this position. Mm-hmm. But they've relentlessly stockpiled. So they do not think it will be quite as bad as Pakistan because of what they've got stockpiled. Higher cost for imported energy, fertilizer behind the foreseen increase. And so listen, but here, just as we start to close this out, on a national front, New England is facing a big problem because they don't have the infrastructure to receive their natural gas. They were getting it from overseas. They don't have a gas pipeline to help them. Right, the ships were coming in from overseas. Those are gone now. Wow. And so the CEO for New England's largest utility, called Eversource Energy, called on President Biden in a letter last week to enact federal emergency orders to swiftly address the growing concerns of New England's access or lack of access to natural gas. So we do see it hitting one state, right? This natural gas. And because we're the strongest nation in the world, we're going to be last with this stuff. But you're seeing food issues, energy issues, right? And now quickly, Iran it is being reported right now that Iran, the UN Atomic Watchdog said Thursday it believes that Iran has further increased its stockpile of highly enriched uranium, criticized Tehran for continuing to bar the agency's officials. Listen, that enrichment to 60% purity is one short technical step away from weapons grade levels of 90%. But I'll tell you what, we were reporting 60% last summer.
Yep.
And I'm just saying, okay, this is what happens, okay? Basically, can I just say where it's at?
Yes.
Experts have warned in recent months that Iran has 60% enriched uranium to reprocess into fuel. That makes at least one nuclear bomb. Okay, that's what that means.
Right.
And they're basically guaranteeing right now they have enough to make one nuclear bomb. That's something we need to be looking at.
Be watching.
I felt like there was one more thing, but on the natural gas end of things, I just want to say the global elite desperately want us doing this. They want us only using 5-8 hours.
They want to
gas
ration us.
Right.
This is what they want, and they promised a better world because of that. And
we'll own nothing and be happy.
Yeah, we'll own nothing and be happy.
Let's ask the Pakistanis if they're happy right now.
Yeah, ask the Pakistanis.
They're crying kid who wants food and they can't warm it up because they don't have any gas right now.
Yeah, I promise.
How happy is that, Mom?
I promise you, Bill Gates and John Kerry and Prince Charles will be running their. They'll be running their air condition.
Yes.
Okay.
They will.
That's disgusting.
Listen, thank you so much for tuning in.